Washington. The first and most important lesson for the Cinewhoop is to tell a story. For pilots like us, it's tempting and often part of the problem that we want to just go fly, right? We want to fly around, we want to do things that are really cool, and we want to use this tool to hit every nail, right? We're using a hammer when you might need a screwdriver. And sometimes that's okay, but for the most part, you want to make sure that everything is coming back to telling a story. At a location, you want to make sure that you're focusing on the things that are important, that are defining about that place. You want to bring your audience through an environment and show them, what it means and why you should be there, and tell all that story in a unique way. Too often do I see people just flying around aimlessly. Like, I'll see posts of like somebody at their wedding and they're just kind of doing orbits around the marriage couple, which is cool, but it doesn't, there's nothing added by flying something through there. It's all stuff that could be done with a gimbal, and the story is lacking. The second most important thing is to remember that this can do things that other cameras just can't, right? What I see often is that people use the drone in the same way that a gimbal could be used, right? Where people are just like walking around with, with a camera on a gimbal. By flying the camera, they're not adding anything to that shot. So when you're using the Cinewhoop, be sure to fly through things, go from high to low, change speeds very rapidly, go from one floor to another. Stuff like that really adds to the shot and is not something that can be recreated with something else. Another thing to think about is that being able to do everything in a single take is something that other cameras can't often do. If you're going to be, on one floor, go down to the next through a car door, and then, land on a serving tray or something like that, which I have done for a video, it's important to remember that these things can do stuff that those cameras can't. And if you're just doing what other cameras can do, quite honestly, better, then there's no point in flying the Cinewhoop. My third point is be smooth. We don't have to be going fast. We don't have to be doing flippy flops. We don't have to do really big sweeping motions when something that is slower and smoother and gentler can tell the story better. Now, that being said, sometimes there's a time and a place for something really fast or inverted or I can't even tell you what. But remember that the movement should always reflect the story so that the viewer responds to what you're telling them. Now, sometimes there's a time and a place for something to be aggressive and fast, but I find that most stories benefit from being told smoothly. The fourth point is that you want to maintain a consistent altitude. When you're flying, if you do motions like this, it's very disrupting from anything. And this is true for gimbals too. Like when people